I'm here to talk about California Web Publishing Service. I think the most important thing to mention is that we've made a major change to the service. And that's probably item number one. We've switched out the back-end engine, and we're now a WordPress shop. So that, for several reasons, I suppose. One of them is to get the state moving toward what our executive leadership has shown as our direction, and that is to embrace the open source community and to become a part of it and to work with it so that we can achieve these goals of delivery, innovation, and quality. And that's something that we strongly feel the WordPress environment gives us. It's a phenomenal platform. It's just not just a CMS. It is really a content delivery, messaging, even development platform. And we'll get into this a little bit, but the main point of this presentation is to talk about WordPress as it is now, and to help you understand our motivation for choosing WordPress. A lot of people hear WordPress and they think of what? Blogs, right? The blogging platform started in 2003, and the idea was to make blogging easy for people to set up a site, go to WordPress.com and get yourself a blog. There were competitors in that field, but WordPress sort of dominated and probably still does. But it's a whole lot more than a blogging platform. And that's what we're going to see as we go through these slides. So it's open source, meaning you can download the entire package for free. You can install, you can run, you can host if you have your own equipment, or you can pay for a hosting vendor. They're also hosting sites that are completely free. And I'll tell you about one of those that we're using for testing and such. So you can actually stand up WordPress in a multi-site environment if you want to test that. And that's what we're utilizing, is WordPress multi-site to host theoretically an unlimited number of sites. You can set that up for testing for free. So ease of use, web standards, extensibility, a high level of functionality. I can't remember the version of WordPress when they implemented responsive design, but fully responsive, and the hooks are all there to make it fully accessible. Of course, accessibility is often up to you, the webmasters, to make sure your sites are accessible, but the hooks and the tools are a part of the framework. So these are some impressive numbers I'm going to show you about WordPress itself. 23% of all the top 10 million websites are hosted on WordPress. Now, that's a phenomenal number when you consider that there are thousands of content management systems in the market. 60% of all the sites that are on a CMS are hosted on WordPress. And the closest competitor is Joomla at 6%. Other products like Drupal, .NET Nuke, Ectron, Red Dot, others you may have heard of, have a lower percentage than that. So when we talk about community, we're talking about millions and millions of people who use WordPress, develop with WordPress, have expertise with WordPress, and we're tapping into that. I would like to ask a question at this point. How many of you are currently hosting your website, your department website or sites, in a content management system? Just one. So does that mean the rest of you are hosting your website using, say, static pages with Dreamweaver or editors of choice? Okay. So years ago, we determined that the state should have a presence in providing departments with a content management system. And so we started the long journey. We're here. We're hoping to be able to help you at least consider onboarding with us in our service. And we'll talk more about the advantages of doing so. But let's continue with the WordPress overview. It is built on the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. It's a modular framework. There's a core. The core is at version 4.6.1. In order to extend the environment. WordPress developed a look and feel, a modular look and feel feature called themes. WordPress comes with some standard themes. You can download hundreds of them for free. We are implementing the state template, or I should say templates, plural, utilizing a WordPress theme. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about which one when we get to the last slide. The other means of extensibility is called plugins. And these are software modules that are developed, made available at WordPress.org or com. Org. Many of them are free. Some of them have a premium version. You get a certain level of functionality out of the box for free. And they allow you to do just a myriad of things. If you can think of it, if you see it being done somewhere on the web, some kind of feature, some kind of functionality, there is most likely a plugin for it. Not just one plugin, but maybe dozens of plugins. And then WordPress has an API, which means you can programmatically post posts, pages, etc. So you can have an application updating your website, not just live humans. Just some features, if you're not familiar with WordPress, the user interface comes with an administrative dashboard. We don't really need to go into all the detail here, but I think the most important part is the fact that it provides what's called multi-site. For us, that's invaluable, so that all the sites that we host for all our customers can be updated. The plugins can be updated one time, and then all the sites get those. 46,000 plugins so far, 46,000 plus. We did a recent research survey on plugins that allow calendaring, either events registration or just putting calendar events into a calendar UI. I think there were like 4 or 5 dozen of these. So part of the problem is that it takes time to research them all, and that's why the community can help. So if you're interested in WordPress, and maybe more importantly, onboarding with us, you could help us by saying, hey, we have a feature, and we've done the research, and here's the plugin we think would really help. One of our customers, the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, has done that. They needed a tool called ReadSpeak, which allows a viewer to listen to any part of the content on their website. In other words, it translates the text to speech, and once that's installed on the site, they can navigate and then listen. Well, guess what? There's a WordPress plugin for that. So instantly we have that functionality. If there isn't a WordPress plugin for it, we can embed the JavaScript that enables that on a site as well. But it's so much sweeter if there's a plugin, because we add that, we install it, we activate it for the site, and then the administrators can set it up and use it. Now that functionality is available. This compared to laboriously developing a feature that can take a long time when the community's already done it in WordPress. We can leverage that and implement very quickly. These are the next thing. Some of the functionalities that WordPress addresses in these plugins are listed here. You can see them. The slide deck will be available, so if you need the detail, you can get that later. The software is directly updated, so updates are simply a click on the button that says update, and the entire framework gets updated. Plugins work the same way, and the themes work the same way. Some plugins update automatically, so you don't really have to do anything. Okay, one of the criticisms of WordPress is that it's not that secure. We've heard so many news stories about how WordPress sites have been hacked, et cetera, et cetera. So those were true. When you have 23% of the worldwide market share, who are the hackers going to go after? How many of you have Windows on your desktop or laptop? Yeah. Well, is it any surprise that that's the platform that gets the most malware? Why? Because that's how many. They're all over the place, right? So that's a problem with WordPress. It's so popular that it has become the attack vectors point at plugins, themes, and the core to try to attack it. Well, there are security plugins. We've implemented those on our service. The one in particular, if you want to take note and look it up, is called WordFence. A phenomenal product. I've never seen anything like it on any product or any platform. WordPress also has a security team that keeps everybody up to date on vulnerabilities, on malware attacks. They do plenty of research. Here's the slide on, mentions WordFence. So here's where we talk about the theme that we're using to implement the state template. It's called Divi, and it's by a company called Elegant Themes. Divi is a pay-for product. So if you're utilizing our service, you don't have to buy anything. If you're on your own doing WordPress, you will have to license that product. I'm not even sure if it has a free version. Is it all premium? Yeah. And Elegant Themes is a subscription-based service. They have lots and lots of themes. Divi is actually a theme and a plugin. So with Divi, you get what's called the Divi Builder. And I hope maybe at the next WUG, I can give a demonstration of how it works. Be happy to demonstrate it for you, maybe via a WebEx. It also has a brand new feature called the Visual Builder. And this is a tool that allows you to navigate to any place on your site, enable the builder, and modify in place. So for ease of use, there's nothing better on the web. It's getting rave reviews. The Divi Builder, the non-visual component, was already getting raves from webmasters for how easy it is to lay out a site, modify the content areas. Let's say, it's just looking old hat. You've got a single column in the middle of your page. You did it because responsive design is important, and that really works good when you get to the form factor of the phone. But then you decide, I really want 3 columns there. This would break things up. The Divi Builder allows you to just go in, click, pick 3 panels, boom, you're done, move the content around. Very, very easy. So the Visual Builder right now doesn't work with the state template, so we're working on that with the vendor to get that support. But the backend builder is what we'll be utilizing for all the sites that utilize either the state template 4.0, which is the currently published template. Art will speak about what's coming. And since we work closely with Art, we have the interim 4.5 template and we have the 5.0 beta in the CA Web Publishing service now, trying to just stay a little bit ahead of the curve. More details about how to implement the theme, we don't need to go over. Where's my last slide, Michael? Oh, is this it? Yes, this is my last slide. Okay. All right, we'll open it up for questions. If you don't have any, I have a few here that came in over the years, a list of questions from prospective customers and webmasters across the state. Do you have any questions for us? Yes.
Because it's based on MySQL instead of a full SQL, what size limitations are there to this WordPress?
That's a good question. The question is, since it's based on MySQL, are there limitations in the database for how big the site could be, how much content you can host? I don't know the answer to that question, but we've not run into any limitations. And as far as I know, there are vendors, hosting vendors, or shall I say integrators, who host sites on WordPress multi-site, hundreds and hundreds of websites on one instance. So I'm not sure there are any limitations because you don't really ever touch the database. You don't need a database administrator, in other words, to host or to implement a WordPress site. That's all taken care of via the plugins or the core framework. Yes?
Can you speak a little bit about the environment and the setup of where it is managed services? Would it be installed on a server? Would it be in a cloud environment?
Another good question. The question is, talk about the hosting environment. Right now, the CA Web Publishing service, WordPress, is hosted in a private cloud in order to get this thing implemented quickly. We leveraged the vendor we were using for webtools.ca.gov. We just expanded the service, and we're onboarding customers into that private cloud. Currently, there's a team building in our managed services area a LAMP environment that will host the service in the future. So if you onboarded with us and you currently have a website that's hosted at OTEC, we would move that site into our CA Web Publishing environment.
Excuse me, my name is Ita Quatron.
Excellent question. When will the service be available to customers? It's available right now to our URSYS customers. You've heard of the URSYS CMS system that we built 7-8 years ago. Those customers get priority migration into the new system. So we will have all of those sites migrated by the end of the calendar year. Starting first quarter of 17, we will open this up to everybody else. I should let you know that we do already have a list. So if you're interested, we can add you to the initial inquiry list and get you a slot if you're interested. Again, you don't have to make any commitment at this point, but in order to interact with us, talk about the service in more detail, see the demo, you might want to get signed up, get on the list, and get in the queue. I didn't have a slide for this, but I can mention that we do have a website called caweb.ca.gov. A lot of the content there focuses on the back-end engine that WordPress is replacing. However, the onboarding process, which is the first menu item, is exactly the way we onboard a customer. So you can get an idea there of the whole process. Yes?
If we came over to the WordPress system, we could use our existing theme.
Your existing what?
Our existing theme, or do we have to use it?
Good question. If we migrate our site over to the CA Web Publishing service, can we use our existing theme? No. And the reason why is because this service is showcasing or implementing or built on the state template. So I realize there's been some ambivalence over the years. Do we have to use the state template? Do we not have to use the state template? You don't have to use it, but we're trying to show the same look and feel across the state. Now, there's some leeway there. There are some departments who have a very good business reason for not using the state template. The whole GoBiz group, I think one of their sites or maybe two of their sites utilize the state template. The others don't because they're highly focused on a very specific clientele, and the state template just doesn't work from what I understand. So I suppose you could make your case, but your theme wouldn't be there in a multi-site environment. You'd have the choice of the current 3 state templates and then any future state templates. Keep in mind, too, that the state template isn't as rigid as some people think. You get the state logo branding, you have a header and a footer. The layout there is fairly common, but you can do various things in those 2 areas, but not as much as you can do in the content area. In the content area, you can do almost anything you want. You have a single column, multiple columns. You can turn on the right navigation. You can turn it off. In the 5.0, it's more of a scrollable motif. So anyway, there's a tremendous amount of flexibility. I would wonder why you would want to build your own theme when the state template comes pretty well packaged with everything you need and a tremendous amount of flexibility in the content areas. Yes, sir.
Kind of following up on that, how much control or leeway would users have to modify the kind of the base templates for that theme? Just because if you only have control of the content, that kind of implies you can't put things in the head or something else like that. Because I know in WordPress you can go into those underlying templates and then modify them, especially if you have a WordPress.
Another good question. I anticipated something like that, of course. The question is, how much leeway do webmasters have to modify the themes, because WordPress, like I said, is highly extensible. Even the Divi theme that we are licensing is being modified. We're not modifying the main theme, but we're creating a child theme. That's sort of the WordPress terminology to implement the state template. So when Divi updates the main theme, we can update it without affecting our state template. What I would say to answer your question is, we would welcome your collaboration. So if you look at the state template and you go, I really need a great feature. We really ought to have this and this and this. And you work in WordPress and you take the theme and you build out some feature or functionality in a child theme, we welcome you to share that with us. And it is our hope that we would be responsive enough and timely enough to implement really great ideas and put those into the system.
So each site doesn't have necessarily its own instance of those templates. It's all one.
You know, multi-site environment, everything cascades.
I just wanted to add to Kevin's point. Obviously things like customizing the branding, you know, and just being able to edit small things to match your logo or your agency's branding. We're gonna make as many of those features available as possible. So, you know, and obviously you're gonna have a lot of control as far as what links go where, what buttons or icons you have in the header. So we're trying to make it as customizable as possible. So definitely we're gonna keep that in mind. But obviously you're not gonna be able to just like jump off of that and make your own complete different template.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is just getting to those places that are outside the general content area, that maybe don't play into the UI at all.
Yeah.
But maybe behind the
Well,
scenes.
let me give you an example of something we did from customer feedback. We weren't really thinking about Google Translate, but a customer that we're onboarding said, oh, we've got to have this. Oh, okay, that was an oversight on our part, I guess. So they said where they would want it. We built it into the template so that it could be put in various locations through a drop-down, just select its location. And so we implemented that feature. So it meets that customer's need, and we anticipate that with the variable locations work to be set, that it will meet other customers' needs. So that's, we now say, oh yeah, when somebody says, does your service support Google Translate? We can say yes. So if you came to us and said, we need something, you know, like SUDD said, we need read speed. Okay, we'll have that available. It's just more of a process. Instead of you just going in and banging out the code and doing it, you communicate to us the feature that you're looking for, and we'll implement it. Now, if it's really highly customized, I suppose, you know, we won't be able to implement that. Oh, let's go to an online question. Let's see, elegant themes. Is the presenter stating state templates will be available as WordPress themes, but you have to have a subscription with Elegant Themes to use it? Yes, you do. Elegant Themes is a purchase product, so in order to use the state template that we're developing in the Divi theme, you have to license Divi from Elegant Themes. I think you can do that three ways. You can buy the introductory one-year package for $79, or you can obtain a lifetime license for $259 and not worry about upgrades after that. So if what you're thinking, online questioner, is that we already have WordPress and we already have hosting, but we don't have the state template, or we have developers trying to build the state template, can we just use your state template? I would say technically yes, you could. You would have to license Divi though. And now, I hope I'm not stepping out into an area where execs might disagree, but we're talking about community, we're talking about collaborating. We prefer that you come onto our service because we think we can provide a whole lot more for you. But if you have webmasters and you have developers and you want to host it yourself, I think we'll make the theme available to anyone who is willing to license Divi. Linda, feel free to step in and qualify my statements if there's a something to talk about here. Okay. All right, there was another question in the back?
Oh, I'm probably know the answer, but plugins, I guess, are gonna be limited to what you want to do.
Yeah, the question is, will the plugins available through CA Web be limited to the ones we install? Yes, that is true. So we'll do the research. For instance, we can have 5 customers come to us and say, we need calendaring and event registration on our site. And we found a plugin. It's called Calendar XYZ. Okay, great. We will take that under consideration. We'll do all research, and we will determine which is the best that suits the most needs. I will say this, though. If you have such a unique need and you've identified a plugin that we're really not interested in for the rest of our customers, but it works for you, we will install, and we will activate it for your site. It's not that big a deal to install one more plugin and give you access to it. We would just like to leverage as many as we can for as many sites as we can. Okay?